After months of flirting with it, Governor Polis has commuted Tina Peters' prison sentence. Peters could be out of prison on parole as soon as June 1st. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
I'm Alexandra Lewis. Peters, the former Mesa County clerk, has been in prison serving a nearly 9-year sentence for her role in a security breach of her county's election equipment. And that time is coming to an end. 9 News political reporter Marshall Zellinger has been tracking this news since it dropped 2 hours ago. Marshall?
Yeah, the commutation letter from Jared Polis says that he has reduced Peters' sentence to almost 4.5 years, making her ready to be out on parole June 1st. She served about 17 months. An appeals court last month threw out her sentence, saying the Mesa County judge likely took into account her free speech when giving her nearly 9 years. That Mesa County judge was supposed to re-sentence her, but now Polis has intervened and commuted Peters' sentence.
Ultimately, I do agree with the appeals court that speech, unfortunately, was a factor in her sentencing. It should not have been. It's important to send a statement that we support the value of free speech as Coloradans and as Americans.
Well, hats off to Governor Polis. We are very grateful. I know Tina is really grateful to Governor Polis.
That was John Case, Tina Peters' attorney, who officially found out from us about the commutation. Tonight on Next, we'll show you when Tina Peters called him in the middle of our interview.
Okay, Marshall, we'll look forward to that to hear much more on this breaking news. 4 people pleaded guilty last week to kidnapping and torturing a man in southwest Denver. They did this at the direction of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua.
Today, for the first time, we are learning why the group kidnapped that man. 9 News reporter Aaron Adelson got the documents.
4 people pleaded guilty to a violent 2024 incident inside this southwest Denver home. We've reported on this case without much detail. Now, for the first time, the plea documents explain what happened. The victim was paying to rent a room in this home. The documents say the roommates learned the victim and his father had worked as police officers in Venezuela. They kidnapped him and tied him up with rope. The plea deal explains the torture the victim endured. The defendants consulted international leadership of the Tren de Aragua gang throughout. They decided to hold the victim for ransom, keeping him for several days while filming violent acts. The group strangled the victim with a rope until he nearly lost consciousness. They also attempted to drown the victim by holding his head in a bucket of water for 30 seconds or more at a time. They pistol whipped the victim and sent these videos to his wife asking for $30,000. When she did not pay, the group escalated. One of the people used a pair of pliers to cut off the victim's pinky finger on his right hand. They filmed that too. On October 16, 2024, Denver police responded to the home for a welfare check on a reported kidnapping. Officers conducted a limited search and did not find the victim. It turns out he was tied up and hidden when the cops were there, but was too afraid to make himself known. The group fled the home, and in the morning the victim escaped, but the plea documents don't explain how. According to an indictment in another case, a TDA leader remotely approved the kidnapping, disfigurement, and extortion. Brown Suarez Villegas was arrested in Colombia and remains in custody there on local murder charges. The U.S. government hopes to extradite him. In Denver, Aaron Adelson, 9 News.
Aaron, thank you. The 4 Denver co-defendants are scheduled to be sentenced in August. They pleaded guilty to federal attempted kidnapping charges and face up to 20 years in prison.
Turning now to a live look outside. After a couple of days of near-record heat, things will change up this weekend. There are some storms that hit the 9 News weather team is tracking right now, including our senior meteorologist, Chris Bianchi. A little change of weather is not a bad thing for those thousands of people running the marathon, right?
Yeah, and if you are running the marathon, you might be seeing that chance for storms. The good news is those storms will hold off until after the marathon. So, if you're running it on Sunday, just focus on enjoying the race, and you'll probably have some clouds to at least keep you a little bit on the cooler side. In Ray, this is where we have the highest risk for some stronger storms tomorrow and Sunday. The Northeast Plains under a level 3 risk for severe weather for tomorrow. In Denver, we're under a level 1 risk on a 0 to 5 scale in terms of that potential for severe weather for both tomorrow and Sunday. We're in the low 80s right now in town. Fair bit of cloud cover, looking perhaps a bit ominous out there, but those clouds are really not doing much. May get some localized bursts of gusty wind, what we call dry microbursts, that rain. You might notice these kind of little wisps here. So it's actually raining way up in the highest levels of the atmosphere, but that rain is evaporating before it hits the ground. And when it does that, it lets out a whoosh, it lets out some evaporation. It evaporates and it lets out some cooler air, and you get that in the form of some localized gusty wind. So if you feel a little push of wind, that's what's going on. Anyways, 80s, 90s, Eastern Plains, some 70s for us in the high country, way above average. We're talking, once again, another day, 10 to 15 degrees above average today. By the way, in Denver, our 14th day so far this year at or above 80 degrees, believe it or not. We've been cooking all year long, but we are seeing a few gusty showers south and east of Denver. Those are mostly falling apart, but we're at a better chance at seeing some of these showers and storms turn severe and also more widespread tomorrow. Tonight we're on the quiet side, but tomorrow and also for your Sunday, it's looking pretty stormy. And then Monday, hope you got some soup in mind, because it is going to be a cool, cloudy, and rainy day. And then we get some snow in the mountains on Monday as well. Tell you all about it in a couple minutes.
Fort Collins police arrested a 19-year-old for sexual assault, and they believe there may be more victims. Jack Harrison DeClore was booked into Larimer County Jail for 3 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of domestic violence. He was a student at Colorado State University at the time of those assaults. He withdrew from school this spring semester. Fort Collins police believe there may be more victims out there. Anyone with information, they are asking to call Fort Collins Police Tip Line.
Cherry Creek Schools is parting ways with the former Chief of Human Resources Officer. Brenda Smith was put on leave in February. Came less than a week after her husband resigned from his position as superintendent of the district. The district didn't say why she was placed on leave, just that it was a personnel matter. Today, the district released a statement saying that they completed an investigation and will not offer Smith a contract for next year.
Primrose School in Lone Tree is still closed after a Cybertruck crashed into that building and caught fire earlier this week. The crash happened Wednesday morning. You're seeing some of the pictures here. The city of Lone Tree says a grandparent of a student was driving that Cybertruck when it crashed. They say 2 kids were in the truck at the time. One of them was taken to the hospital. Nobody inside the building was hurt. We, of course, reached out to the school, and they say they do not have a reopening date just yet.
Copper wire thieves are wreaking havoc in Commerce City. Police there say they recently had nearly 20 electrical boxes vandalized and stripped of their wiring. Police say the boxes stripped were CenturyLink, so that means phone service and internet were affected. They're also asking anyone with information to contact their department, and they say they're planning to ramp up patrols in the hardest hit areas. Meanwhile, police in Aurora just arrested 2 people from doing the same thing. The group was seen on security footage inside a warehouse, rolling out these massive spools of copper wire worth $12,000 and weighing nearly 250 pounds. The business also sustained about $3,000 in damages to a bay door. Both men are facing burglary and theft charges.